Welcome to our YouTube channel. In this video we are going to talk about Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader and philanthropist who served as the first president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the country's first black head of state and the first elected in a fully representative democratic election. His government focused on dismantling the legacy of apartheid by tackling institutionalized racism and fostering racial reconciliation. Ideologically an African nationalist and socialist, he served as the president of the African National Congress (ANC) party from 1991 to 1997. As OSA Speaker, Mandela was born into the Thembu royal family in Mvezo, Union of South Africa. He studied law at the University of Fort Hare and the University of Witwatersrand before working as a lawyer in Johannesburg. There he became involved in anti-colonial and African nationalist politics, joining the ANC in 1943 and co-founding its Youth League in 1944. After the National Party's white-only government established apartheid, a system of racial segregation that privileged whites, Mandela and the ANC committed themselves to its overthrow. He was appointed president of the ANC's Transvaal branch, rising to prominence for his involvement in the 1952 Defiance Campaign and the 1955 Congress of the People. He was repeatedly arrested for seditious activities and was unsuccessfully prosecuted in the 1956 treason trial. Influenced by Marxism, he secretly joined the banned South African Communist Party. Although initially committed to non-violent protest, in association with the SACP he co-founded the militant Umkhonto weSizwe in 1961 and led a sabotage campaign against the government. He was arrested and imprisoned in 1962 and, following the Rivonia trial, was sentenced to life imprisonment for conspiring to overthrow the state. Mandela served 27 years in prison, split between Robben Island, Pollsmoor Prison and Victor Verster Prison. Amid growing domestic and international pressure and fears of racial civil war, President F.W. de Klerk released him in 1990. Mandela and de Klerk led efforts to negotiate an end to apartheid, which resulted in the 1994 multiracial general election in which Mandela led the ANC to victory and became president. Leading a broad coalition government which promulgated a new constitution, Mandela emphasized reconciliation between the country's racial groups and created the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to investigate past human rights abuses. Economically, his administration retained its predecessor's liberal framework despite his own socialist beliefs, also introducing measures to encourage land reform, combat poverty and expand healthcare services. Internationally, Mandela acted as mediator in the Pan Am Flight 103 bombing trial and served as Secretary-General of the Non-Aligned Movement from 1998 to 1999. He declined a second presidential term and was succeeded by his deputy, Thabo Mbeki. Mandela became an elder statesman and focused on combating poverty and HIV/AIDS through the charitable Nelson Mandela Foundation. Mandela was a controversial figure for much of his life. Although critics on the right denounced him as a communist terrorist and those on the far left deemed him too eager to negotiate and reconcile with apartheid supporters, he gained international acclaim for his activism. Globally regarded as an icon of democracy and social justice, he received more than 250 honors, including the Nobel Peace Prize. He is held in deep respect within South Africa, where he is often referred to by his Thembu clan name, Madiba, and described as the father of the nation. Mandela was born on 18 July 1918 in the village of Mvezo in Umtata, then part of South Africa's Cape Province. Given the forename Rolihlahla, as OSA term colloquially meaning troublemaker, in later years he became known by his clan name, Madiba. His patrilineal great-grandfather, Ngubengcuka, was king of the Thembu people in the Transkeian territories of South Africa's modern Eastern Cape Province. One of Ngubengcuka's sons, named Mandela, was Nelson's grandfather and the source of his surname. Because Mandela was the king's child by a wife of the Axibur clan, a so-called left-hand house, the descendants of his cadet branch of the royal family were morganatic, ineligible to inherit the throne, but recognized as hereditary royal councillors. Nelson Mandela's father, Gadla Henry Mfakanyiswa Mandela, 1880-1928, was a local chief and councillor to the monarch. He was appointed to the position in 1915 after his predecessor was accused of corruption by a governing white magistrate. In 1926, Gadla was also sacked for corruption But Nelson was told that his father had lost his job for standing up to the magistrate's unreasonable demands. A devotee of the god Kamada, Gadla was a polygamist with 4 wives, 4 sons and 9 daughters, who lived in different villages. Nelson's mother was Gadla's 3rd wife, Noskini Feni, daughter of Nkadama of the Right-Hand House, and a member of the Onampembu clan of the Xhosa. No one in my family had ever attended school. On the first day of school, my teacher, Miss Mdingane, gave each of us an English name. This was the custom among Africans in those days and was undoubtedly due to the British bias of our education. That day, Miss Mdingane told me that my new name was Nelson. Why this particular name, I have no idea. Mandela, 1994. Mandela later stated that his early life was dominated by traditional Thembu custom and taboo. He grew up with 2 sisters in his mother's kraal in the village of Kunu, where he tended herds as a cattle boy and spent much time outside with other boys. Both his parents were illiterate, but his mother, being a devout Christian, sent him to a local Methodist school when he was about 7. Baptized a Methodist, Mandela was given the English forename of Nelson by his teacher. When Mandela was about 9, his father came to stay at Kunu, where he died of an undiagnosed ailment that Mandela believed to be lung disease. Feeling cut adrift, he later said that he inherited his father's proud rebelliousness and stubborn sense of fairness. Mandela's mother took him to the Great Place Palace at Mkekazweni, where he was entrusted to the guardianship of the Thembu regent, Chief John Jantabadala Nebo. Although he did not see his mother again for many years, Mandela felt that John Jantabu and his wife Nongland treated him as their own child, raising him alongside their son, Justice, and daughter, Namafu. As Mandela attended church services every Sunday with his guardians, Christianity became a significant part of his life. He attended a Methodist mission school located next to the palace, where he studied English, Xhosa, history, and geography. He developed a love of African history, listening to the tales told by elderly visitors to the palace, and was influenced by the anti-imperialist rhetoric of a visiting chief, Joy. Nevertheless, at the time he considered the European colonizers not as oppressors, but as benefactors who had brought education and other benefits to southern Africa. Aged 16, he, Justice and several other boys traveled to Taihalarha to undergo the Ulwaluko circumcision ritual that symbolically marked their transition from boys to men. Afterwards he was given the name Dalabunga. Clarkberry, Hilltown, and Fort Hare, 1934-1940. Intending to gain skills needed to become a privy councillor for the Thembu royal house, Mandela began his secondary education in 1933 at Clarkberry Methodist High School in Nkobo, a Western-style institution that was the largest school for black Africans in Thembuland. Made to socialize with other students on an equal basis, he claimed that he lost his stuck-up attitude, becoming best friends with a girl for the first time. He began playing sports and developed his lifelong love of gardening. He completed his junior certificate in 2 years, and in 1937 he moved to Hilltown, the Methodist college in Fort Beaufort attended by most Thembu royalty, including Justice. The headmaster emphasized the superiority of European culture and government, but Mandela became increasingly interested in native African culture, making his first non-Xhosa friend, a speaker of Sotho, and coming under the influence of one of his favorite teachers, a Xhosa who broke taboo by marrying a Sotho. Mandela spent much of his spare time at Hilltown as a long-distance runner and boxer, and in his second year he became a prefect. In 1939, with John Jantaba's backing, Mandela began work on a BA degree at the University of Fort Hare, an elite black institution of approximately 150 students in Alice, Eastern Cape. He studied English, anthropology, politics, native administration, and Roman Dutch law in his first year, desiring to become an interpreter or clerk in the Native Affairs Department. Mandela stayed in the Wesley House dormitory, befriending his own kinsman, K.D. Matanzima, as well as Oliver Tambo, who became a close friend and comrade for decades to come. He took up ballroom dancing, performed in a drama society play about Abraham Lincoln, and gave Bible classes in the local community as part of the Student Christian Association. Although he had friends who held connections to the African National Congress who wanted South Africa to be independent of the British Empire, Mandela avoided any involvement with the nascent movement and became a vocal supporter of the British war effort when the Second World War broke out. He helped establish a first-year students' house committee which challenged the dominance of the second years, and at the end of his first year became involved in a Students' Representative Council (SRC), boycott against the quality of food, for which he was suspended from the university. He never returned to complete his degree. What do you think of our video? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.